next machine we're going to go over to is the heavy-duty Mortiser. That's the Laguna LBM 200 machine. Let's have a look. And this machine certainly is heavy-duty. This thing weighs in at about 575 pounds. This machine also features a 3 horsepower motor. This is a ball-door motor. Now you may have seen some pictures of this machine in the past where it had a similar looking doghouse like we saw on the other machine up and over the top of it. We've actually removed that when we switched to ball door because we've got a TFEC, a totally enclosed fan-cooled motor now. And it allows us easy access. It also gives us nice mounting points. I've got 6 mounting points here for the motor, and I've got a nice heavy-duty chuck on this machine. This is an Italian chuck, and it sets with a number 8 Allen wrench. You can see that the jaws inside will close down as I rotate the Allen screw. Now we call this a heavy-duty machine because, well, let's face it, there's plenty of cast iron in this machine, and it starts right here at the work table. This work table is a generous size. It's 12.5 inches deep, it's 23.5 inches wide, and again, it's nice, heavy-duty, solid cast iron. And there's lots more cast iron in this machine, from the anchor points back here and the anchor here for the table, again, more cast iron. Now, one difference between this table and the other table that we saw on the other slot Mortiser is that this is a fixed table. It bolts right directly to the stand. And what that means is that your workpiece is going to come clamped to the table with these clamps, and it's going to stay fixed to the table. What's going to move is the motor and the drill bit. Now we mentioned this has got a 3 horsepower ball door motor on this machine here, and it's anchored in 6 spots here to the cast iron table. This table is a 3-axis table just like the other machine, and it's got side-to-side movements here. You've got just a little over 9.5 inches of side-to-side movement. It's about 9.6. Your plunge travel is 8 inches on this machine here, and then the vertical travel on this is 6 inches, and I'll show you that in just a moment here. This table runs real smooth. You'll notice that it has dovetail ways. We'll do a little shot of that in a little bit here, and it also has side stops as well. Now you can see from this angle right here the V-grooves that allow this machine to slide back and forth, and this thing really glides easily both forward and back and side to side. It barely just takes a very, very little light touch to move this. Now raising and lowering the 3-axis table is quite easily and very, very precision. You'll see that there's a nice heavy column or shaft on this one here, and it's got a keyway on the other side to keep it straight up and down, and that goes right in through the cast iron. This gearbox allows this table to move up and down by use of the Acme threaded rod down here very, very easily. There's a nice cast hand wheel, and simply to move the table, it just takes a quick few cranks to adjust the table. There's also an indicator scale right here that reads both in fractional inches as well as in metric, so that you can go through and accurately position your workpiece each and every time. On the back side here, you're going to see these limit stops. These have these thumb screws, and those can be locked together by counter-rotating those, and that sets your side limit stop, and they go up against the hardened steel pin right here. And that is going to set the width of the mortise. Now the plunge action has the same style of stop. This will be the stops for the plunge action, and those are underneath the table, and it has the same sort of nuts. Now the motion on the table is controlled by a single lever, and this lever allows you to go through and do your plunge cuts as well as the side-to-side cuts. And again, these go through spherical rod end bearings right here that make this operation a breeze. Even with a heavy cast iron table and a heavy 3 horsepower industrial motor on it, this thing glides very, very easily. Now one thing you're going to notice is the dowel indexing device right here. This makes it easy to do doweling as well as slot mortising. Let's have a closer look here. Now the dowel indexing device makes your work very, very easy. You'll notice that it has a series of holes, and this one says 22 right here, and that means that these holes are on 22mm centers. This is a pipe, and it actually will rotate, and it has ball detents for the 25 position, 25mm between each piece, an intermediate position, 16mm between centers, another intermediate position, and finally 32. So you have 4 different sides you can use, or you can leave it in the middle and have it glide back and forth with no holes. Now the way that this works is you simply will select the centers that you want to use, loosen this, and push down on the spring-loaded pin. This pin is going to lock into that hole, allow you to plunge, and then with the handle at the top right here, this little brake handle, retract the pin, slide over, lock into the next hole, plunge, retract, move over, it locks in, I plunge again, in and out. Now one of the nice things about a heavy-duty mortiser like this is that it comes fairly well loaded up. It has these very, very heavy duty clamps. These clamps are positioned with a coarse adjustment up and down on these large diameter steel posts. The fine adjustment is done by turning the handle, and then the final clamping is done with an over-the-top cam action. These are heavy clamps, and they've got mounts on both sides of the table. One of the other things you can see right up in front here is a miter gauge. This is a nice heavy-duty miter gauge, and it's got indents in here where it'll lock in at 45 degrees, both positive and negative, 90 degrees, and 22.5 degrees on either side. And this can be loosened and positioned anywhere up and down the front rail. And this is great for doing your end cuts into the end grain. It also has a nylon butt on the back so that when it moves across the table, it moves very easily and doesn't scratch the table. So as you can see, we can swing the fence, pick up the lock pin. That'll put us exactly at 22.5 degrees right here. Or if I need to go to 45, I'll pull the lock pin up, move it over, and that way 45 degrees today is the same as it is tomorrow. Another great feature about this machine is its repeatability. It's repeatable because it's very, very heavy duty, and it also has some features like this. This is your side limit stop. So as you're bringing your stock in, if you want to make a repeated cut, you can set these rods into your workpiece here, lock this down, and your workpiece will come up and butt against the same stop every time. Now this can be tightened on the bottom or loosened right here and slid very, very far out. This is the same width as the table. So if you're doing a small project or whether you're doing a big project like a door, these things can be stuck very, very far out, and your stopping point can be out here while your mortise is on the inside. Now with a machine that's this heavy, you want to have some easy way to move it. And we have a factory mobility kit. It comes with the wheels and an axle on this side here. And you're going to notice that it has two handles up in front. These two handles allow you to lift on this side. Most of the weight is on the back, so this side lifts very easily, and it allows you to move the machine around your shop quite easily. Now, one thing you may want to do is to remove the handles if you're not planning on moving the machine. They kind of stick out a little bit, and that way it'll get them out of the way. So now you've seen the mobility kit. I'm going to actually use the mobility kit and turn the machine around and show you one of the real standout features of this machine. Now we've said it before, and I'm going to say it again, this machine is a very heavy duty machine. If you look right in here next to the frame, you're going to see that there's a welded on 1/2 inch thick steel plate right there, and there's a matching 1/2 inch thick steel plate right here. And you're going to see that they have a bolt that runs through it. And that really is one of the standout features of this machine. This is a tilting head mortiser. And this allows you to take this entire 3-axis table and to tip it by simply grabbing a wrench, loosening this. I've already loosened the one on the other side, grabbing the handle right here, and then simply tilting the head and locking that in the position that you need. Okay, now I've got that locked down. Now when you move this head assembly, it's very heavy. Again, it's all cast iron. Make sure you use this very heavy duty handle. This thing threads right in the side of the machine here. Don't grab it by your dowel indexing device. You certainly want to use this handle right here. Now you'll notice very closely here that you've got a degree meter right here. This goes 0 through 45 degrees positive and 0 through 45 degrees negative. And of course, this will open up just a whole new realm of things you can do with your mortiser. Now with the table in the tilted position, you can see just how easily you can do a variety of projects. Of course, I still have my in and out plunge, but my side to side now is done on a slant. And with the machine in this position, you can do louvers, you can do different types of furniture parts, or anything that you need an unusual shaped mortise on. Now we've used the hollow chisel and a slot mortiser. Let's go ahead and use the heavy duty mortiser here, the LBM 200, and we'll cut one at a slant here. Okay, we'll set the material down. I've already got the stop preset, so we'll come up against the stop, give this a couple turns, lock it down. I've only got one clamp on this one here. Let me start the machine up and make a cut. let's see how we did here, shall we? Look at that. Another beautiful mortise. This one's on a slant now. So we've got 3 different types. Slot mortise, a slanted slot mortise, and of course, the hollow chisel square mortise. Well, as with all power tools, you want to make sure that you read, follow, and understand all the safety instructions that come with your tools. Now, we showed you a couple different mortises over here. We also offer a benchtop model that's a hollow chisel, but there's one more that I want to mention to you, and that's this one right here. If you're doing installations in the field, you can actually use the Festool Domino to cut a slot mortise, and it takes a smaller tenon than this does. It'll actually come with a package of tenon stock, or what they call dominoes, and it does the same thing as our slot mortisers, and these are great for doing field installations. Now, the best quality tools only work their best when you're using high quality tooling. And here at Laguna, we've got a great set of mortising bits, both in high-speed steel, in carbide, in twist bits, and in straight bits. You want to make sure that the bits are securely fastened inside the machine. And again, make sure that you're using all the safety instructions that come with your machine. And of course, if you're doing the integral tenon, you'll want to have one of these. And this is a tenoning jig, and that'll fit onto your table saw. I always love that fit when it kind of snaps into spot there. Now, we've shown you a lot here today about the mortisers, and you might have a few questions. If you have some questions, you can look at our website at www.lagunatools.com or give us a phone call at 800-234-1976.